Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back for part 2 of my Godwars series. Now, last week we discussed the different factions, good, evil, neutrality, or maybe it's elves versus orcs or humans or something like that. And your mileage is going to be, your own. You're going to have your own factions, your own situation. But the next step down from all of that is, as you can see from the title, going to be the heroes and the high priests. They're going to be the people who your player characters either strive to become, already are, or directly deal with and get maybe their marching orders from the high priests. Maybe they're the heroes. Maybe someday they'll aspire to be the heroes. Or if you've got some clerics in your fantasy setting, or priests, or things of that nature, they'll be getting their, like I said, marching orders from on high or down below, if that's how you roll and that's the kind of game you're running. That's fine. That way, if you recall through most mythology, it was not all that common in ancient mythology, at least, for the gods to come down and do the things. There's Hercules, and there's obviously a few outliers and exceptions, but Zeus and things like that. If they came down in disguise, or they sent an avatar, or something akin to that. Now, there are some fantasy novels that have come since then, especially Elric, where Arioch would show up in person every once in a while and do something. A lot of times, though, he was also in another form. But for the most part, unless you want to really get hands-on with your deities and have them appearing before your characters, which, if you recall from the old days, there was but a 1% chance, plus or minus a few other factors, that the gods would even, hear the characters' pleas to their god or gods in times of strife and dire emergencies. Oftentimes they were left on their own, and in a normal game, that, I would say, is the way it should be. But in a God Wars situation, the stakes have been upped to some point. There's something different going on in your world or in your campaign that has forced the gods to take a little bit more concentrated effort, action, and paying more attention to what's going on, because maybe their goals are almost about to see fulfillment, or maybe they're being drawn out by some nefarious other forces. Maybe the other gods are trying to lure them out or manipulate one another, that sort of thing. But it's the heroes and the high priests, the priests as well, but you know how I am about alliterations, who are going to marshal the forces of the world to, get together and eventually have your big dukaroo, your big battle, or maybe many great battles. But it's going to be those characters, the heroes, the high priests, the generals, that are going to rally the forces together and attack other forces. Maybe they're not necessarily opposed god forces, but maybe they're things in the way, or maybe it's like they're going to sack this town or take this country and incorporate it into their own. So if it's your god's will, so to speak, then you're going to do the things that your god is telling you to do. This also gives you the chance to tailor-make your adventures in certain directions. Say your particular god wants this particular widget or MacGuffin, and he tells the players to bring me the golden fleece or some such, and bring it back to the high priest or even himself, or an altar, sacrifice it, in which case it teleports up to the heavens or down below, and the god now has another tool at his disposal. And this gives you a lot of opportunities to send the players out on adventures, questing, searching for these things or these people, or maybe even these monsters, which we will go into later, because monsters do often play a big part in God War campaigns, whether it be slaying of a beast, or maybe capturing the Pegasus. So Heracles would have the Pegasus to get to the other place, or cutting off Medusa's head so you could use it against the Kraken. And we'll get into that maybe next week. We'll we'll see. I've got a little bit of a couple of items I want to get to. And this way, the gods themselves can stay behind the scenes, unless, of course, you want them out in the open, which I do recommend toward the end of your campaign that the gods are visibly seen battling in the heavens, not just the allegories of lightning and clouds bumping into one another, but, really see, Thor and Loki, fighting, maybe on the battlefield, or maybe it is up in the heavens, or, in the clouds, but let them see that sort of thing. But for the most part, most of these stories always revolve around the heroes, the characters, the players, doing the great deeds on behalf of their chosen patron god or goddess or demon or what have you. And there's really a whole lot you can do with this. There's a lot of different ways you can go, and there's a lot of opportunities, not just for role-playing and wargaming and all that, but amongst the players, whenever I've done this, there have always been characters who maybe they're part of the party, but they're not necessarily, with the main deity. They might be the rogues or the scoundrels, and maybe you can pull them off to the side and say, hey, the other side is offering you this deal. It's the opportunity for betrayal, because I think I was saying it last night, you can't get 12 people together without having that one guy that is going to backstab the rest of you. And if you've got a player or an NPC who's going to fit that bill, that always makes for a lot of drama and tension, so that the plans can fall apart for a little while, and then they have to recover, and it makes for a great up and down, peaks and valleys of your story. So it's not just completely linear. Sometimes they'll have to take one step forward, 2 steps back, or however that goes, and get your story, make it personal and personalize, and don't just copy all the tried and true stories that have come and gone and that are out there. Although there are some great ones out there. Clash of the Titans, obviously one of the greatest movies of all time to get you in the mood for this. And we did a couple of reviews actually of this, Jackie and I, a while back. You can check that out, or you can go wherever you stream movies, or maybe have it in your collection, which I think we do now, and check that out. But also, when doing this, make sure you have a couple of your own high priests and heroes that can either help or hinder the party in whatever way you need. That's what they're there for. They're your own little puppets. You are, after all, the god above the gods, making everything move, but not everything, because you're sitting there, like the gods being thwarted by these mere mortals. So be prepared for the players to throw wrenches into your plans at any given moment, and that's really the fun of game mastering or dungeon mastering or refereeing, whatever you want to call it. But put some effort and some time and some thought into your NPC heroes and high priests, as well as make and clear a path for your player characters to become the next generation of those chess pieces in this grand game, because that's literally what's going on, is a grand game of chess between between at least 2 sides, but maybe there's a 3rd or 4th or 7th faction getting ready to have a Godwars. So let me know what you guys think. If you're up for a game like this, I will be running something akin to a play-by-mail game over my Discord, where each player involved will be playing the part of a god and moving their own chess pieces across the imaginary world of my current D&D campaign. If you're interested in something like that, you can go check me out on Discord, or hit me up in the comments section below. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot different from your standard bill of fare at the traditional Dungeons and Dragons gaming table. And until then, folks, have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow several times, and maybe later on I'm going to go see what everybody else is doing on YouTube, and I will see you guys later. And as always, happy trails.